So it seems like the news is changing focus on a daily basis. First it was the embarrassment of Team USA. Then it was that train wreck of the State of the Union. Next was the conflicts in Mexico. And nowadays it seems like Punch the Monkey is in the spotlight. But the Punch the Monkey story is pretty cool though. I bought my wife one of those monkey dolls from IKEA and she's wearing it everywhere. If you don't know about Punch the Monkey, just search for it in Google and you'll see the heartwarming story. But with everyone's attention focused elsewhere, I want to bring it back to what many Canadians' goal is, which is boycotting the United States. The first report is out of Myrtle Beach, where they still seem to be a bit clueless on why they're actually down. And the next one's out of the state of Maine, where they seem to have accepted the fact that they're not going to get many international tourists, so they're trying to create local deals. And the last one's out of New Hampshire, where the small inns and hotels are really suffering because there's no Canadians coming down. But this article also interviews Senator Dan Innes, a Republican, and he explains why he thinks tourism is down. So you're going to want to stick around for that because you're going to want to see his reasoning. The backdrop you're looking at today comes from Garth from our Discord server, and he took this photo in Howe Sound, British Columbia. I always appreciate it when people send me pictures from home, so thanks Garth for sending this over on Discord. Now before I start, I saw this post on Boycott United States on Reddit, and it's titled, "I'm missing out on so many things I want to do, but that changes nothing." Now let me read it out to you guys because I know some of you are just listening right now. I haven't seen many new movies or shows the past year because most of them are American. There are so many that look good, but I won't be watching them. There are books by Canadian authors that I'm dying to read, but published by an American company, so I won't buy it. There are several video games I want to play, but I can't buy for the same reasons. I hate it. I lost the majority of my entertainment options, but there's no way around it. I refuse to enrich the people who are attacking my country. We have to make sacrifices, regardless of how unpleasant they may be. Now, while I appreciate this guy sticking to his boycott, I do not agree with the fact that he said that he's lost majority of his entertainment options. I don't see it that way. In fact, I actually see it as an opportunity for Canadians and international people to start seeing what's out there instead of just automatically focusing on the United States. Now, let me relate this to tourism. I know there's a lot of places in the United States that some of us miss. And I'm not afraid to admit it. I miss Hawaii, California, and a little bit Las Vegas. But for me, it's mainly about the people and my friends. But now that we're refusing to go to the United States and sticking to our principles, I've actually been searching elsewhere for vacations. Europe is somewhere that I haven't really experienced and traveled very much, except for work. So I've actually been looking for trips this year to go to Europe. And I already have my planned trip to Australia later this year. Would I have considered these locations before? Probably not. I'll be honest with you, probably not. But we all still want to go on vacation, right? And now's the opportunity to kind of really explore the rest of the world. So don't let that passport expire and don't limit yourself to just going to the United States. Okay, let's get to the first report out of Myrtle Beach.
Canadian visitors have always brought an economic boom to the city of Myrtle Beach, but numbers show Canadian tourism numbers in the Grand Strand are down. Our Catherine Schreiner looked at the city's plans to bring our neighbors to the north back down south.
30% decrease in Canadian tourists comes after news that all tourism is down 3%, and the reasons appear to be similar. Like the decrease in all tourism, Canadian tourism has gone down over the past year due to politics and financial struggles.
Now, this is not going to be the only time in this video that you're going to hear the excuse that we're too poor to travel. But if we're having financial struggles, why are we still traveling to every other place in the world except for your country? Why are the international flights out of Canada still going up? You see, it's reports like these that I can't stand, because their audience in Myrtle Beach, they're not going to think that, oh, Canadians can't come down because they can't afford to visit us, which is complete bullshit. But then again, Myrtle Beach is a deep red city, so we can expect them to blame everyone else except for themselves.
Visit Myrtle Beach Executive Vice President of Sales Bob Harris says the pandemic also changed the demographics coming to the beach. Before 2020, couples over 50 years old were traveling, while today more family travelers can be found. Harris says they're still seeing Canadians come to visit, and he believes that Canadians are more than just visitors, but a part of what Myrtle Beach is.
They're more our neighbors. A lot of them own homes here. A lot come here all the time. So when we see them, it's just like, oh, we're seeing you again. It's not like, oh, I don't know you. Who are you? It's someone that we've seen years and years and years. And it's good to see them back again.
Well, you won't be seeing as many this year, that's for sure. And I'm not totally convinced that Canadians are your friends. They're just people that fill the cash registers, right? And if you think I'm jaded by making that statement, I'm not. I'm just going by what the US haters are posting in my videos, and also other social media networks as well. The sentiment towards Canadians in a red state or a red city is not very good.
Visit Myrtle Beach is working to counteract the drop in tourism. The 65th Can-Am Days are happening here in Myrtle Beach between March 13th and 22nd, welcoming Canadian tourists here to the beach.
Well, I got two words for that. Who cares? Now, I don't know Myrtle Beach well at all. And I'm going to assume that it's mainly Eastern Canada citizens that used to go down to Myrtle Beach. But it sounds to me like they're prepping for a good year, or anticipating that Canadians are just going to forget everything and come back. Well, here's an idea. If you did used to visit Myrtle Beach, maybe let the hotel or inn or wherever you used to stay on a frequent basis. Let them know that they're never going to get your Canadian dollar again. And this doesn't just apply to Myrtle Beach. I mean, if there's places in the US that you used to frequently visit, send them an email. Say, hey, I'm done with you guys. And to the haters who think I'm just rubbing salt in the wound and that these people are just trying to make a living, well, in a sense, I am rubbing salt in the wound, and I'll use Canadian salt to do it. Because I'm kind of tired of all the exceptionalism and playing the victim and blaming Canada for what's going on right now. So if you used to visit places in the United States and they're sending you promo deals, because let's not forget, spring is coming up, let them know that you're not going to be visiting them. I'll leave it up to you guys to decide how you want to respond to them. Let me know your thoughts and predictions on Myrtle Beach for 2026. And if you're new to my channel, and you're finding any value in anything I'm saying so far, make sure you hit the subscribe button below. Now, this next one is out of the state of Maine. And it seems like they kind of accepted the fact that Canadians are not coming down, so they have to make alternative methods to try to make some money.
This can be a slower season in Maine for a number of businesses as fewer tourists come to our state, but there's a new initiative to try to boost business in the winter months. Katie Delaney shows us what kind of a difference it's making.
This new promotion by Visit Portland is called Winter Weekdays. Restaurants and hotels are offering deals on the weekdays they need a boost in business most. It's an expansion of Winter Wednesdays, a program the organization ran last year, which it says was a success. Now Winter Weekdays participants, like the Press Hotels Union Restaurant, hope this new program will make a bigger impact.
Now, the first thing that came to my mind is that they were comparing it to last year. Now, we're in end of February right now. And if they're comparing last year's winter, I'm pretty sure there were still Canadians going to the state of Maine. So if they're comparing 1 year ago, our boycott hasn't even started yet, which kind of tells me that this promo that they're going to try to do probably won't have the same result as it did last year.
Typically this time of year, it is very slow.
But over the past couple of weeks, Union has seen an increase in people coming in. That's because of their winter weekday deals, offering a $40 three-course dinner and a $15 meal at lunch.
We've had no issue in the past few weeks filling our tables for at least 1 to 2 turns during our lunch period.
The Portland Regency Hotel and its restaurants are also drawing in guests with weekday discounts. Director of Operations Stefan King says it's a great time for locals to enjoy dining out without crowds of tourists.
I don't know about you guys, but that kind of sounds funny to me. Because they're trying to spin it in a way where they're not getting tourists, but they're catering to the people who don't like tourists. I don't know, it just sounds like a really weird marketing campaign to me.
Winter can be quite long in Maine, so it's just trying to get people to have some in-person connection, get out of the house, come grab a friend, grab your partner, come in for a meal, catch up.
80 businesses so far are participating in winter weekdays. Visit Portland's executive director, Lynn Tillotson, says she hopes that this initiative will help prevent more Maine restaurants from closing.
It's a tough time for them. If we can get more people dining out or staying overnight, that retains the workforce as well. It keeps people working.
Well, I'm pretty sure the workforce and the businesses would be doing a bit better if the 51st state and bullshit wasn't happening.
Not letting the cold get in the way of supporting Maine's local businesses while getting some good deals in the process.
We're still here. We're not just seasonal businesses. Maine is a year-round place to visit.
You can find all the deals going on at winterweekdays.com. New businesses can add offerings on the website too. The campaign is running through the end of April.
So my main point to show everybody this is to show that the businesses in Maine and even other states are still struggling, even if they don't want to admit that Canadians do contribute to them. And let's not forget, I've done previous reports where business owners were begging to have $20 spent at their shop. Some people might not think it's a big deal if they have one meal in the States, but think about it this way. You have a meal for a family of 4. That could easily be what, $120, $150 depending on where you go? Well, that meal will go into the pockets of some US citizen, and we don't know if they voted Democrat or Republican. But either way, they're going to enjoy having that money. But are they going to enjoy having you there? Just something to think about if you're still debating on going to the United States. Now, this next article is out of New Hampshire, and let me read the title to you. Small inns, hotels across NH bear the burden of slouching Canadian tourism. Now, this article talks to the owner, Kevin LaSala, who is a registered Republican, and he talks about the downfall in terms of tourism that basically started last year. Now, this article is pretty long to read, so I'm not going to read the whole thing out, but I'll point out some of the things I wanted to show you. The article does talk about the typical drop in Canadians and international tourists and blaming other stuff, blah, blah, blah. But what I want to focus on is the owner of this inn, who is a lifelong Republican, and what he's starting to say about what's causing his business to start to decline. LaSala says he's worried that it's a sign that the Orange McNuggets' fraught relationship with Canada and other countries, characterized by fluctuating tariffs and volatile rhetoric, will jeopardize the future of small hospitality and businesses throughout the state. Well, no shit. I mean, what did you think would happen when you voted for him? He says we can weather the storm last year, so to speak, but when you're getting hit on both sides, you're getting hit because of geopolitical rhetoric, and it hits your revenue by 15%. And then on the expense side of the business, you're getting squeezed. That's a progressively less profitable or potentially no profit at all business. Who would have thought that voting for a racist, a pedo, a tariff-crazy idiot, and a nation-insulting person would have affected your business? Article then goes on to talk about when he was talking to his Canadian customers. He says, I think the thing we heard the most was the reference of the 51st state kind of thing. That really, understandably, hurt a lot of people. It's going to take a while to earn that trust back. The LaSala said that they heard similar concerns from their British relatives and a few remaining international guests. It's because of all the geopolitical stuff, the fear factor of issues at the borders with the visas, how they might be treated, and then just being offended, flat out, by all the rhetoric going on. Now, I don't totally want to slag on this guy. He is a Republican, but he is saying things that actually matter, which is rare coming out of the mouth of a Republican. Because most will blame the exchange rate or the weather or the moon or the tide or some stupid shit like that. So I do give Kevin credit for actually knowing and acknowledging what the problem is. But the biggest question is Kevin going to do anything about this with his vote coming up? Now, this next part comes from a US Senator named Dan Innes. And he says, I think we did have a blip. There's no question about that, said Innes, who has touted his political alignment with the orange guy. But there are more factors at play, he said, than just the administration rhetoric. Really? Innes pointed to the currency exchange rate and general economy in Canada as the other possible explanation for the decline. So let me ask this question to all the Canadians watching right now. Is the currency exchange rate and the general economy of Canada the reason you are not going to the United States? I'm starting to know my audience pretty well, and I think I can guess how everyone is feeling right now. Plus, I am a Canadian, and I can tell you right now, at least for me, these are not the two reasons why I'm not visiting your crap country. And to be honest, these two factors aren't even on my list. They might be for some, but they aren't for me. Then this blowhole goes on to say, I think it's difficult to say, oh yeah, this is due to the Orange McNuggets rhetoric. I mean, that's hard to prove. Does it have some impact? Yeah, for a few travelers. Is it widespread? I'm not sure it is, he said. Well, I don't want to swear. I don't want to cuss. You, Mr. Innes, I'm sorry to say it, but you are a complete fudgicle head. And the fact that you're downplaying one of the main reasons why Canadians are not coming to your crap country shows me everything I need. And in fact, I read your statement, and it just refueled my boycott even more. So thank you, Mr. Innes, for helping to top up my boycott fuel. Now, the article goes back to Kevin LaSala, the owner of the inn. He says, nobody even sees how much damage is being done to the industry, and they don't care. And some people don't believe you, said LaSala, who described himself as a lifelong Republican. Aw, I'm sorry to hear that you're frustrated. Thoughts and prayers, I guess? He then goes on to say a number of individuals actually said, we don't need international tourists anyway. He said, I'm like, you may not, but we like them, and they're good for our business. Well, I guess there are more than 2 clowns in the United States saying that they don't need international tourists. I thought these two were the only ones.
Also, of course, like, we could survive without a ton of international tourism. I think the tourism industry in America, and I don't know this as a fact, but I think our tourism industry is more based on domestic tourism.
I'm kidding. I know there's more than 2 people. There's millions of them that say this. I just wanted an excuse to show these clowns again. But the second thing that kind of irked me in this last paragraph, he says, they're good for our business. I don't know about you guys, but I don't want to be a business transaction to somebody who doesn't really give a shit about Canada or the relationship between us. Because it sounds like all he really cares about is his bottom line. And I'm not going to help that. Now, I'm actually really curious. Has anyone in the GTL community ever stayed at the Nutmeg Inn bed and breakfast? If you have, and you've let Kevin know that you're not going anymore, I'm very curious to see what he replied with. So if you have stayed there, let me know, send me an email. But going back to this guy who's a waste of air, it's just another example of the United States government downplaying the problem that they have caused and putting the blame onto somebody else. You know, reading the comments from this senator and even that business owner, the cynical side of me wants New Hampshire to fail. Now, I'm sure the Democrats in New Hampshire are going to say, we didn't vote for this, we don't deserve to fail. No, you probably don't deserve to fail. But unfortunately, this guy's representing your state. And a lot of these business owners, your peers, went through the democratic process to vote for the Orange McNugget. Now, I know exactly what the haters are going to say, and I have an answer for that. They're going to say that the election was rigged. Well, my answer to that? That's your country. This is how it is. And it's been decades, maybe even generations in the making. So until the United States sorts out this baggage, there's going to be nobody internationally that's going to be helping. And continuing comments like this from this senator is not helping either. So if you want somebody to get pissed off at, go get pissed off at this guy. If you found any value or agree with anything I said today, and you want to hear more from a Canadian and international perspective with no US bias, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button below, so that way you're notified of my future videos. Thanks everyone, I'll talk to you later.